Welcome back to the Ryan Dustin Podcast, Words from a Humble King. Per usual, I got a guest here with me. I've been in the business, realtor, been in the business for 2 years now with Brick and Quill Realty. I'm doing the thing in the Baltimore area, and definitely cares about it in a different way than some of these other realtors do. And I'm excited to introduce Alisha Gibson with Brick and Quill Realty. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Listen, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. We were talking offline, and you were telling me about the reason you got into this business. And without giving it away, I found it interesting because not everybody cares about it the way that you do. And I really wanted everybody to get an ear on how you looked at the real estate market in the Baltimore area. What made you get into this business?
One, I wanted to provide financial freedom for me and my kids. You know what I mean? For me, even though everybody would look at HGTV and DIY and different projects, it was more than that for me. You know what I mean? It was about providing financial freedom for me and my kids, but also helping people reach, their home ownership goals. And again, making sure everybody has a home, if that make any sense.
Yeah.
Because my first year I had 2 sales and a lot of rentals. So just being able to help someone else accomplish that goal would mean a lot to me.
Yeah, I was focused on the housing part, how you just wanted everybody to have a home, not necessarily in this business to make a buku of cash, but your first thought was to make sure everybody was covered. But everyone having their idea of homeownership realized. Where do you think that came from?
Probably like from my background. Because I had a stable home, but I don't feel like it was stable until like my mom got clean. You know what I mean? From drugs and things of that sort.
Yeah.
So it was just like, yes, I was with my dad, but at the end of the day, my mom didn't have a stable place to live. And then when she finally bought home, so my mom bought her home. And again, it's so crazy that I was literally, I went and visit my old home, and I actually have a picture of it. But so my mom purchased her first home. So it made me look at home ownership totally different, especially back then. I think her mortgage was like $489.
Oh,
no more than like $500 exactly. And that was back when I was in high school. And I remember, and I used to be like, dang, it's so affordable. I can't wait to be able to reach that, reach that goal of my own.
Yeah.
So again, it was just always about making sure everyone had a home. You know what I mean?
I do. And what's interesting? We didn't discover this offline, so I'm just kind of discovering that point. And but my mother also struggles to this day with addiction, and she lives with me.
Really?
Right? Yep.
Okay.
And her addictions moved from drugs to painkillers, to food, right? So it kind of morphed a little bit, but that shaped me, right? That shaped my reality.
Same.
That shaped every which way I viewed people, the empathy that came from it. And our city, man, is not necessarily, I wouldn't call, a lot of people say infested, right? But I call it, struggling with identity.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's more so what it really is, finding out who you are and how to deal with you so that you don't reach for a coping mechanism.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And the way,
especially when they claim it's embedded in us.
Exactly.
Because of our parents.
Right. So as you can imagine, I had some change to break, as I'm pretty sure you can relate to, right? And that shaped the way I approach this business. Right? And I can kind of hear that in the way that you want other people covered, because, when you're struggling with that, you can't see straight.
No, not at all.
You can't see straight. And I struggled with it too. I used to smoke marijuana. Right, weed was a big part of my life.
Same, I understand that.
Yeah, I used to tell people all the time, as crazy as it is to hear, man, weed saved my life, because I didn't know I struggled with anxiety. Right, so to keep me from doing something crazy, that calmed me. But I didn't realize at that point I was still reaching for a coping mechanism. I just thought, it was everybody goes home and cracks a beer and call it
a day.
Yeah, it's okay. But that was something that I kind of leaned on as a crutch. Talk to me a little bit about how you kind of came out of some of those mindsets a little bit.
I think for me, it definitely came when my father passed. Because again, he was on drugs as well. So when he had to get clean, it's like he picked up drinking. And he went through kidney failure. Matter of fact, it was liver failure because he had to get a liver, had to get on the transplant list. So it was like, for me, I never wanted to be addicted to anything. Like, I don't care what aspect of my life it is.
Right.
I never like to be addicted to anything.
Yeah.
So for me, I always went back to like my spiritual side. If I felt like I was getting addicted to something, I would fast. And I would put God first in my fasting.
Yeah.
I don't even care if I fasted for 7 days. I fasted to let God know that I was putting him first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter what addiction it was. Not even say addiction, whatever I picked up as a coping mechanism. You know what I mean? Like, I made sure that, okay, this has been going on long enough. Let me fast.
Yeah.
You know, let me get back to why am I doing this? You know what I mean? So I can change it. Yeah.
There's a different hearing in fasting.
Yes.
There's a different layer you get
fasting.
to
You do.
when you fast. I found that out too. Because I had to fast in order to stop, right? But once I got out of it, you know, there's a bit of a season where, you know, you get to 90 days, you struggle. You get to 6 months, you struggle. But once I was able to kind of break 3 of the 6 months, I was clear of it. But that was a bit of a ride for me. And in that, I had to do additional fasting. So it wasn't just let me stop smoking. I had to stop all of the things that I like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when you don't lean on a thing and you do lead with the spirituality portion of it, I found out who I was in isolation.
Yeah, in isolation. For some reason, we always find out who we are alone.
Right.
And I don't want to say alone because God is with us.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But you find out who you are.
Right. And I think that's what he wants, that one-on-one, and to be able to tend to the core of who you are or who you have become so that you can come out of it.
I agree.
And, you know, that thing shaped my business, right? Because that was my sphere of influence. A bunch of people with broken credit, a bunch of people that were afraid of the business, you know, and I had to get people to trust me early on in this business. And it was difficult to do because now that I can kind of look back, there were portions of me people could see in my blind spots that I didn't know. I didn't know I was exuberating. So what ended up happening was the more I fasted, the more clear-minded I became, and I was kind of aware. I was made aware in isolation of who I really was, what kind of patterns I really had, all those sorts of things. And, you know, you fast forward, you know, and, you know, 2-3 years in the business, and now I'm kind of able to kind of exuberate the person I want to exuberate, so that this person is trustworthy. Because the main thing when you're struggling with addictions and you're struggling getting out of those mindsets, you know, that, you know, your parents, you know, they kind of put themselves in you a little bit. One of the main,
all have it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, you're up under that stewardship. So it's like there's certain things you got to shed, and patterns, mindsets, all those sorts of things.
Breaking generational curses.
Yes.
Like, that is real.
That's actually where I was going with it.
I don't say nothing else. It's real.
Yeah. And as I broke some of the curses in my life, I got a chance to reach for some individuals, some other ones reach back, you know, and then that way, the more I grew, the more I became self-aware, the more I believed that I could be the one that helped them. Right?
Yep.
Talk to me a little bit about the way you approach your sphere of influence. Have you been dealing with some folks that don't necessarily trust, or have you been finding it difficult to get folks to trust?
I feel like everyone has been joined to me. I know in this business, like, you have to make calls, you have to follow up, you have to do this and you have to do that. But that's not what God calling me to do.
Okay.
I just feel like my people gonna come to me. Okay. That's all I hear, is my people gonna come to me. So the referrals that I'm getting, I feel like they're my people. You know what I mean? So I feel like, thank you, God, for blessing me with my person, no matter who comes in. You know what I mean? So let me make sure I treat them with the utmost respect, kindness, gentleness, you know what I mean, that I can possibly provide in this process. Because it also had to deal with me. Like, I didn't own a home. I didn't have good credit. So how am I talking to these people about buying a home or having good credit? But at the end of the day, I knew there was something my passion. Like, just because I can't do it right now don't mean someone else can't do it. You know what I mean? Let me not be a Debbie Downer. Just because I'm not there don't mean that someone else isn't there. Or I can't encourage other people to get there. people need encouragement. Like, you know what I mean? We got mental that takes a lot.
Right.
Like our mental space these little voices takes a lot. So to have someone to sit there and encourage you every step of the way, like I've got multiple phone calls. Like when I call my clients, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, how did you know I needed you to call me?" It was my time to call. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, just keeping bases with them and encouraging them along the way.
Encouragement. And in order to be able to speak to someone or to be able to speak to where they are, you had to have been there. And you said to me off camera, it's like, man, I struggled a lot, right?
Yeah. What?
Talk to me about that. Real. Yeah, because I do believe that, right? I believe that a portion of my isolation was attached to the way that I struggled a little bit, because some of those mindsets that I had wouldn't allow for abundance. Right, it was scarcity, but you can't get those. You don't see those things in your blind spots,
right?
When you're in the hustle and bustle, right? You got to be slowed down, and you got to be intact, and you're in touch with who you are.
Yes.
And I found that was connected to a lot of my struggle. But talk to me a little bit about what that meant. What was that comment about? I struggled a lot, because I do believe it made you relatable, and it made you offer the encouragement in a relative sense for other people to be able to attach themselves to the communication that you were trying to give them in a moment.
Yeah. I think what I mean that I struggle a lot is because one, we have kids young.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, our kids' needs, we want to supply them first.
For sure.
Than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bills we do, but guess what? We want to make sure our kids are taken care of. You know what I'm saying? And even though, again, I was married with my kid's father, so he was always there for our kids. You know what I mean? But financially, I don't know what it was with me. I always had 2 jobs or 3. It was just something that I always, again, I guess because I was younger and I struggled, that I just never wanted to not be without. Until literally I was listening to a word from Pastor Michael Todd, and he was just like, yeah, God ain't make us to work out every day of our life. Like he provided a rest day for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what made me have to really, like you said, slow down and stay in the moment and be like, 1, it's not all about the hustle bustle. 2, it's not all about the money.
Right.
God gonna supply all of that. I just need to stay with, in my element.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, the struggles that you did experience, that you did live through to get to where you are right now, you can feel it, right? Communication is not always verbal, right? Energy speaks before the mouth does. So a lot of times, if your initial energy is off, people will recognize real, and we don't always know we're speaking in that way. But I do believe that the way you struggled kind of makes you intact with where people are in this, when they're on the other side of this business as a client. And it settles it down a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
It really does. Yes, it
It's
did.
a big deal. How do you handle your clients when, you finally do break the ice, right? And, you're starting to get a sense of who they are, what kind of fears and anxieties they have, right? How do you get a chance to speak to those things without letting them know that that you're speaking to them?
Honestly, I have really good clients that actually tell me what's going on with them. They have no problem telling me what's going with them, and at the end of the day, I have no problem telling them that it's all on God's timing. Like that's always my saying. Like we waiting for God's timing. Didn't I tell you that off camera?
Yeah.
So, like even for me, like I said, that's why it's easy for me to talk to my clients and encourage, because I know at the end of the day, I had to encourage myself every day. Like even though I grew up in church and things of that sort, at the end of the day, you got to sit with yourself alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And encourage yourself. I don't care if you got a spouse, a partner. We still, at the end of the day, we got to encourage ourselves.
Yeah.
So I love to encourage people. I love to uplift people. And even when they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, I see it. Don't you see it? I see the light. You know what I mean? Like, you got to keep pushing forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to you again. We had a bit of an extended conversation on camera. And you mentioned something to me. You said you need grace in all areas. And,
Woo.
you told me you had 3 boys. You told me that, one was in college, you got another one in high school, and you got one in middle school, I'm thinking?
No, he's in ninth grade this year.
Ninth grade, so you got two in
Count
high
down my
school.
years.
Okay. Well, I thought I could count them down too for my 20-year-old, but I don't know if that's the case for me no more.
I feel that's what what the crazy part about is when you say that, because I know I went through a time in the season where just because I was 20 something or 30, my mom felt like I didn't need her as much. And I just feel like as parents, I don't care how old our kids are, they need us.
Learning.
Yeah. I mean, at 35, again, people that have lost a parent understand that. You know what I mean? At 35, 40, and 50, and they be like, I just wish I can call my mother. I wish I can call my father.
Yeah.
And it can just be just for a conversation. It ain't even to ask for money.
Yeah.
It ain't, it's just to say, baby, you're doing great. So, yeah, I feel like our kids always need us.
I'm still getting around to the baby you're doing great part. But
baby,
he is a good kid. I'm going to be straight up with you. He's a good kid. It's just my ideologies, I think, are kind of getting in the way a little bit. My idea of how I think it should be done. I'm trying to let go of that.
You have to let go. Yeah. If I ain't learned nothing else, let go.
Yeah.
We got to allow them to live their life
and
make their own mistakes. And again, just pray for them along the way. And they're going to come back to you and ask for your advice.
I'm waiting on that. I'm waiting on that. I think that's a little different for the fathers because we're an authoritative figure. So it's like, there's some of the things I'm teaching my boys, they're not gonna get until they get in their 30s.
Well, that's because we already know men take a long time to catch on. You know what I'm saying? So you know he's 20, but he really still like 14.
So as I wait for that, as I wait for that development on the other side of his brain, I find myself, but as I work on him, I swear I feel like he's working on me.
Yeah.
And as I parent him, I'm discovering me.
Yes.
And then I'm also from the flip side, because I go to God about my boys too. I'm needing grace in this area because for one, my father passed away when I was 6, so I didn't have my father at all. And but he was a drug addiction alcoholic, Baltimore City.
Yeah.
And as I grew past his legacy, he died when he was 36. I'm now 38. So, I surpassed his legacy. I'm in an uncharted territory, so to speak. But I'm making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And I'm learning on the job. I'm unlearning while I'm learning, which is a difficult thing to do simultaneously. And yeah, you're right. I do. I need grace. And I also heard you say that you got to watch your words, because I absolutely can relate to that, because you can say some words have power, man.
Yes, they do. And I'm realizing it.
Power, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So I can say some things to him that kind of kill his spirit a little bit. I can say some things to me that can kill my spirit a little bit. Talk to me about what you meant. And I mean, about that statement, I got to watch my words, and that you needed grace all the time.
Yeah, because when I say watch my words, and it really means watch my words, because again, I'm raising 3 black boys. And again, go back to even about breaking generational curses. My mom yelled all the time and cussed all the time. And God dang it, if I don't yell and curse all the time, not in a bad way, but I'm just very stern.
Right.
I will say something real like, hey, once or twice, but that third time, no. It's loud season. And I mean it. Like, I gotta stand firm on it. Yeah. But while I'm standing firm, I'm realizing that I still need to watch my words, because I don't never want one, still raising 3 black boys. I want them to know that you're going to respect your wife, your partner, any woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because your mother raised your voice, that's not how you're supposed to talk to a woman. So I never want certain things that I did to reflect to them, to their future partners and their future wives. So it's like, and their children. Like, I want them to know that watch what you say, watch how you speak, watch how you deal with your kids, watch how you deal with your partners. So for me, again, breaking those generational curses that I didn't even realize that I had, that I was, had to be like, oh no, I need grace on that. So again, that's why I told you, like, I really started asking God to watch my words and watch my tone, because again, it starts at home.
It does. It
starts at home.
Yeah. One of the curses I had to break was fear. I didn't realize I had struggled with fear. when you're in certain seasons that you can figure out, I never had to come to the end of myself. So when I first started in the mortgage world, I was the first. See, I became a store manager at DTLR, door-to-door sales. Figured out how to do that job. Once they changed the rules and regulations, they put us back in the neighborhoods. I had figured out how to do the job on the internet. I didn't knock on doors. I knocked on DMs.
Okay.
And that was a lot more safer for me.
Yeah.
Right, because I didn't realize I struggled with rejection issues. And yeah, I had real struggle with rejection sensitive dysphoria. But portion of that was, due to my father passing away when I was 6. And I never got to see it. And trauma is a nervous system shock. It's not always mental. Nope. It's in the fibers of who you are. And I never, it took me starting therapy to learn that, right? And it shaped me. Right, it even shaped how I did the business in the first half of my career. I wouldn't do sales calls.
Okay.
I would not do cold calls.
That's the easy part to me.
I tried my best
to rejection, so that's the difference.
Me and rejection didn't work out. And so I tried my best to do the job the way I wanted to do the job. And when I had to come to the end of myself in that process, because you have to do sales calls.
You have to do sales calls.
You can't avoid it.
Nope.
And I had to, that part of me broke. It had to be shattered.
Okay.
Right. And I had to pick up the pieces, but I had to do it with God so I could put some things back the way that they were supposed to be. Because I had some deformities in the way that I had outgrown some things, or the way I had grown in certain mindsets.
Okay, yeah.
I had to relearn, break certain mindsets. And it was a painful process. And it formed some of the biggest challenges. See, a lot of folks I speak to when we're having conversations about this business, they have market challenges. But for me, it was me challenges.
Yeah.
Right? It was always me. And how could I change to deal with the way I saw the business, the way I saw my clientele, the way I approached the discipline portions of it. And I kind of found over time in therapy that it was more so, do I feel like I deserve this? Right?
That's good.
And because I didn't realize I struggled with fear, I didn't realize my mother struggled with fear, right? And the more mature I got in my process, the more I was able to kind of identify the fear in her, which allowed me to identify the fear in me. Yeah. And once I kind of saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not making these calls because I'm afraid to be the person that can handle the business. And I'm afraid of the abundance because I've never seen it before, right? I'm afraid of stretching into the human being that I have to stretch into in order to be able to handle that capacity of business. Okay. Right? It was a lot for me mentally when I had, when we talk about challenges in this market. But what does the challenges in this business look like for you?
I think the challenges are for myself more than anything. Because one thing about this business, it makes you be consistent.
Yes.
It makes you stand on business.
It does.
If I can't tell nothing else,
Right.
like that's my struggle. At the end of the day, this business make you stand on business. If you want to be successful, stand on business. If you want to touch people, stand on business. You know what I mean? Again, if you want people to trust you, stand on business and show them what you have to offer. So again, my struggles came standing on business.
Yeah.
I kept saying that I want to be a business owner. I want to do this. I don't want to necessarily say entrepreneur, but I know that I wanted to, again, provide financial freedom for myself. And the reason why, again, for me, it was, I know that my middle son does not have on the line of wanting to go to college. So for me, I'm never going to see my black boy in the streets like my brothers was. When my mother didn't supply for them, they went to the streets. So it was just like, oh no, I got to make sure that I supply all of my boys' needs so that way they don't fall to the streets or victim to the streets.
Right.
Because I lost my brothers to the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was like, no, I need to open up these avenues and these doors for my boys. So at the end of the day, I'm creating generational wealth, and I'm making sure whether it's my cleaning business, whether it's my real estate, whether it's my nonprofit, my kids have a job. Mm-hmm. And I can make sure that they're well taken care of, along with the community, along with people that's around me. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about, you're a single mom.
Yes, I'm a single mom.
3 boys.
3 boys.
Hard to do.
Yes. I don't want to feel like that it's hard to do, because I really got 3 amazing kids. Okay. You know, I really do. Like, I can honestly say, like, it's little things. It's not even the big things. It's the only thing I really fuss with them about is school. You know, and at the end of the day, I understand that Baltimore City College is a good is one thing for sure.
That's a lot of isms.
Because them summatives and formatives don't play.
Yeah.
My kids will tell you in a heartbeat. But, you know, it makes me a proud parent to know that my son that is in college, that goes to Temple, he commends, like, he applauds the city because he feels well prepared. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I can't do nothing but give it up to, you know, those educators there, because he's at Temple and he feels comfortable. Mm-hmm. He don't feel like he's struggling. He can write a paper. You know what I mean? He's passing French. Oui. I'm like,
right,
oh yeah,
right.
Because I don't know a lick.
Yes,
you know.
Right.
To be able to, again, even though I'm a single parent, I have great boys.
Yeah, my oldest, he's at Towson University, trying to figure out who he is. My middle, you know, he's the one academically. Well, all of them never struggled academically. Mm-hmm. I think it's more of a want-to for my oldest. He's like, man, I'm just sick of it, right? I'm intelligent, I'm smart, I got what it takes, but I don't like this structure. Mm-hmm. And that's a testimony to his mind, right? I mean, taming his mind has been a challenge, because he is a very intelligent boy. Mm-hmm. And he has me in him. So, you know, he's a great kid. Mm-hmm. But the motivation, the desire to do something and to figure out who he is, we're in a bit of a rough patch with. But I think that's normal for younger individuals. Yeah. Now with my middle, you know, he's an avid, you know, he's firing it off on all cylinders when talking about academics, and he actually cares about it. Mm-hmm. And so in that regard, I don't struggle with that with him, you know, but I find, how can I put this? There's a sense of urgency that I feel with Jalil. Mm-hmm. And with Ryan, not so much Cam, because he's the third, so I kind of had some things figured out by the time he came.
Same. Okay, seriously,
right?
I get it.
Yeah, and but with Jalil and with Ryan, getting them to see that I need you to overcome fear that I struggle with. Yeah, I need you to overcome this abundance mind. I need you to gain this abundance mindset, right? And let go of the scarcity thing, right? Yeah, let go of the I gotta have it right now because I'm never gonna get a chance to get it again. That feeling, I'm trying to get that out of them. And because I feel like it freezes them and sometimes I think Jalil worries so much about who he's going to be and what he's going to do that he quits thinking about it. You know what I mean?
And I think that's all our generation. Yeah. You know, especially these kids that's growing up, because there's so many entrepreneurial opportunities. Everybody wants to be, you know. Again, I'm happy for our kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like the sky is the limit in their minds. Right. Let's just put it there. In their mental, the sky is the limit. Yeah. So I didn't have that growing up. My mother, again, credit wasn't talked about in our household. Only thing she told me to do was go to school, go to college. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to school. That's all. Go to school, go to college. We didn't talk about credit. We didn't talk about, you know, finances. We didn't talk about any of that. So difference, I'm trying to talk to them about that. You know what I mean? Trying to talk to them about responsibilities and stuff like that. Because again, that wasn't never talked about in my household.
So, and that's actually what I was getting at, right? So it's like, because I feel that sense of urgency, I stress over it. And it impacts
them.
It impacts them because I'm pressing. But it also impacts me when I get here. It's like I have to find my creativity. I have to find the room and the capacity to be able to deal with clients. We were talking off air about the Mortgage Success Program and how we're building folks' credit. We're actually making sure that people have a spending plan to take actionable steps to get to home ownership. And as I approach fatherhood, in a manner in which I've never seen nor experienced before. I'm always in the fear of, am I good enough to do this? Am I good enough to handle this? Can I balance both worlds? Can I make sure I do a good enough job stewarding over them? And can I do a good enough job here at work? And then, you know, I'm VP of the board of Why Not nonprofit, mentorship nonprofit down in PG County. Am I bringing my best self to that as well? You know, I struggle with, you know, am I going to be able to handle it all? And, you know, you got the podcast. There's a lot I'm juggling with. And then, you know, yeah, I'm trying to do the business too. And you told me that you were trying to launch a nonprofit. You also said you wanted to launch a business, and you're trying to morph this real estate business in another realm. You know, talk to me about being a single mother while you do everything else.
Ooh. What? One thing for sure is, honey, them dinners be looking real light. One thing's for sure. They might get about 3 strong 4 days out of me. And then after that, they on their own.
Right.
So it's been a struggle. But at the end of the day, I really thank God for the support of my kids. I can't stress that enough. Okay. Like when I say that they down with whatever mom is down with, they down with whatever mom is down with. And it's so crazy, like even like with my cleaning business. One thing's for sure is my kids be like, can I come with you? You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's so crazy that I don't want them to come on the job with me. Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like they're kids and they should just focus on what they need to focus on. And it's probably because I work in the school system and I don't think parents realize that kids come to school and talk and conversate with their peers because they're peers, you know, and we hear, oh, I was with mom doing this. I was with mom or dad doing that. And it's so crazy because a lot of our kids can't read. Yeah. They don't get the necessary like extra attention on schoolwork at home because they are doing X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? And so it's something that I've realized. Like, not saying that we're not supposed to give our kids a push to the real world and, you know, work ethic and things of that sort, but I just feel like it's just a time and a place for it. Yeah. And that's a lot of our kids grow up faster because they're not like, you know, again, nothing wrong with it, but they're already trained to like, no, once I leave this place, it's work. No, life is not all about work. I'm working on that. Because it's not, you know? I know I'm trying to set the boundary. I really am. You have to. When you care about what you do. Yeah. And you care about the legacy you're trying to live. Yeah. And leave. Yeah. I find myself, man, in my route to being great. I do. I find myself stealing time away from them. And it is not intentional. I'm not saying you gotta learn how to cut it off. I know. You do. Set a time for it. I'm trying. I'm trying my best. But you know, there is no buts. I'm trying my best. Yeah, keep trying. Let me ask you this then. How do you section off, you know, one thing from another? I'm starting to understand the parent thing, right? The mom thing, and how they understand and how they're on board and all that kind of stuff. But there has to be a bit of a balance. It does. You know, it could be quite difficult to do a business, 2 businesses, and try to do the nonprofit. Yeah, and it's like the nonprofit is just something recently that I started with one of my teachers at my school. So we're like in the beginning stages of it, which I'm like really excited about. Talk to me a little bit about it. So with the nonprofit, it's called Roots and Wings Foundation. Roots and Wings. Roots and Wings, okay. Right? She was the wings and I was the roots, and we just put it together. But for me, it's just like, let's get down to the root of the issues. And what I mean by that is a lot of our Black kids can't read, you know, and I hear all the time, I'm an early literacy tutor for kindergarten. I hear all the time from parents, oh, my child know their ABCs. They sing them to me every day. Singing has nothing to do with being able to recognize a letter or can say a letter sound. Yeah. You know, so for me with my nonprofit, the main thing that we want to do is offer free tutoring services. Because outside, like tutoring is like $50 to $60 an hour. You know, so I want to be able to offer free tutoring services.
That's awesome.
And also provide like the necessary essentials that they need. I don't think parents realize, again, I see parents show up every day at school, picking up their children, hair done. Is their child hair done? No. Is their son hair cut? No. You know, and I don't really think, we know that our appearance makes you feel good. You know what I mean? Like, let a young boy come there with a haircut. I can say to one of my kindergartners, your haircut looks nice. That boy will light up his face. And I know he ain't have a haircut in 2 months. And I'm being frank, you know what I mean? I'm being honest. But when I let him know what I noticed about him, his whole attitude changed for the day. I promise.
See, and you know what? Not to interrupt. I agree. I think that's awesome, as a matter of fact, right? You know, making sure that these boys can do what they have to do academically in order to be able to be successful in this world. My demand on my boys is heavy, I'm sure. And it's organic because it's not anything that I'm not doing to myself, right? So it's like the same way I had to pick myself up out of my own pits, and the same way I had to manage my mental stability, and the same way I had to reach for the things that I was able to accomplish in this world. And being able to handle it all mentally, right? Dealing with things that I don't want to talk about regarding my feelings and emotions and the anxiety, the fears, the addictions that I had to break. And making sure I have a balance, right? It's like the greatness I demand from them is so organic, and it's not, sometimes I don't even have to say anything. They are so, they do their best to make sure that they produce a product that I'm going to be approving. Approved, you know, that's going to be approved. And I'm grateful in that regard, but I know it's a lot of pressure. Now, I'm going to spin that a little bit because, like I said, the very same taxing demand that I put on them, and in some areas, extremely organic, not even verbal.
Okay.
Right? It's the same thing I do for myself. Okay. Right? And because I just, like you said, I just do not want to be like anything I came up around. Yeah. Father was a drug addict and an alcoholic. Mother, addiction issues. Both uncles, heroin addicts. Grandfather, alcoholic. Grandmother, alcoholic. It was all that I seen.
It was all that, yeah.
So when I tell you I'm on a 100-yard dash, so to make sure I never enter into that space, right? All the way down to the wine. Like, I don't drink wine over 5%. Like, I don't. Yeah, right? Yeah. And it's organic, and I the very same pressure that they feel, I feel, and I'm very hard on myself. Right now, you're trying to do a lot. Right, the cleaning business. What is that called, by the way?
It's called Beyond Prices Cleaning. So I literally just renamed it and revamped it because I left a business partnership. But so I was always myself. I did this business partnership for 1 year, so I really just renamed it. So Beyond Prices Cleaning.
Congratulations on the
Thank you. But it was actually geared towards providing, again, me seeing in the school system, a lot of my middle schoolers don't have haircuts. I mean, I seen a middle schooler with a hole in the shoe. So at the end of the day, it's just like, for me, if I can provide a job security from kids from the ages of 13 to at least 17, 18, so they can, again, be able to provide for themselves, whether it's haircut, whether it's tennis shoes or whatever. Because again, I struggle. So I can only imagine, I'm not judging no parent, because I struggle. You know what I mean? But it's about, at the end of the day, being able to help another child, another parent out. You know what I mean? Because again, I robbed Peter to pay Paul to make sure my kids was good. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day.
And that itself is pressure.
How
have you been dealing with the pressure?
Jesus. One thing for sure. I'm like, Lord, what you say? We be like, Lord, where you at?
Where are you?
Lord, where you at?
Where are you?
Because don't you see this bill deal? You know I had to get that haircut last week.
Right.
You know they needed khakis, right?
Right.
So, again, the pressure has a lot to do with me still making sure that I had other incomes. You know what I mean? Outside of my regular job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like every job was for each one of my kids.
So your nonprofit and your business on the side of real estate is actually concentrating on being able to provide financial opportunities to
for
younger
other people.
individuals. Okay, I got you.
For the community, especially like for our young folks again.
Yeah. That's dope. As a matter of fact, so they don't have to turn to the streets.
So they don't have to turn. Like literally, both of my brothers on my mom's side was in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
One of my brothers served 20-something years.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally, I'm 37. He's 34. He's literally about to get out. He's been in jail since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
My other brother got killed before, when I was younger, 21, 22. You know what I mean? So I lost two brothers, to the streets.
So a portion of your 100-yard dash is coming from your pain too.
It's coming from my pain and my struggles that I seen that, my mom go through. Because again, I wasn't their mom, but I seen the struggles that my mother went through.
For sure.
Trying to raise boys. You know what I mean? And again, my mother took really good care of us. But at the end of the day, boys, we want what they see. Back then. Like, I don't have those Jordans. I don't have those shoes. Or my hair not cut. I'm wearing these type of jeans. My friends wearing this. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I saw them be like, no, I want this. So I'm going to go get it.
And that's a portion of my pressure too.
Yeah.
Because I do. A portion of what I'm trying to unlearn is I got to stop saying yes to everything that I didn't have. Right?
Yeah.
Because I provide what I didn't get. Now, there's some good areas in that.
Yeah.
Right? I provide the discipline I didn't get, the authority I didn't get, right? The proper mindsets. But then, like some of the things I didn't. Boy, I'll tell you what, if I have to wear another Air Force One with the strap.
Listen. And then I told you off air. Remember I told you my ex being in my kids' life for so long, they picked up on so many of his things that I never realized it.
Yeah.
So by my kids, I feel like they materialistic.
Right.
I'm not even materialistic.
Right.
I can give a heck. I'm going to the Goodwill because the Goodwill got some good things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So my mindset is totally different. And again, I grew up off the Goodwill from my grandmother, and I used to think that I was like, every weekend I used to be like, wow, we in here. Or whatever day of the week was the coupon. Wow, we in here. Now I find myself in a Goodwill, and it's because I really love it. You know what I mean? I love shopping all over, and I realized that clothes and materialistic does not mean anything to me. Like somebody can tell me they need a pair of shoes. You want these shoes? Like it means nothing to me. But my kids, boys, saying he provided everything that they possibly probably wanted, and the way that he dressed, it's just like, I want those type of things too. Yeah. See, but no. They only get those type of things if I see good grades and reward. So mine's is more of a reward thing versus, you just getting it just because. Because no, we're not getting nothing just because. Yeah. One thing's for sure is that has no value. Now, you want to buy a house, we can talk. But all that other stuff holds no value.
Yeah, that's dope. I think one of the better things about where I am has been, of course, to provide everything that I get. But the special part about that is I get a chance to build their credit early. Yeah. Right. I get a chance to go into the bursar's office with Jalil. So he's not picking up all the student loans I racked up. And just being the thing that I didn't get. And I think you're right. A portion of that is teaching the right things, and unfortunately teaching some of the wrong things that I have to grind out of them as I grind it out of me.
What? Okay.
Which is a portion to the grace that you spoke about. A portion of what we go through allows us to see our clients. And we're in a struggling market, but a developing one in Baltimore. And the reason why I say a struggling market because the inventory is low. So it's like inventory is low. So it's difficult when you have an anxious client who's never bought a house before with a mindset of I got to be the first one to buy a house. But the search is difficult. How do you approach the negotiation portion? And when I ask this question, I'm basing this off of every single experience that you had. And with you having boys, your you have to exuberate a little bit more authority, a little bit more bass. You told me a little earlier you do a lot of yelling.
What?
How do you handle negotiations?
1, 2, 3. Voice raises. So for me with negotiations, one, I make sure if I know that my client wants a house, that particular house, I'm jumping on the phone with the agent. You know, I'm getting a rapport with the agent, making sure you know who I am, you know who I am, you know, and I know who you are. And I ask them, you know, what are your sellers looking for, and how can we meet in the middle? Like my thing is, how can we meet in the middle, and how can we make both of our clients happy?
Yeah.
You know, so my thing is always getting to know the agent and seeing what the seller want, and making sure my buyer needs are met. You know, at the end of the day, and make sure they're happy at the end of the transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just experienced a NAR settlement. How do you handle that? Do you do the contract? How does that work?
Yeah, I do my contracts.
Okay.
All right, all my contracts out.
Okay. No, not the ratified contract.
Oh.
So I think the representation now with you all has to be documented up front.
Yeah.
And it didn't always have to be that way.
Oh no, it did not.
Yeah. How do you handle all of that?
Again, I talk to the client.
Commission based.
Yeah. I talk to my client.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. Like I really literally talk to my client, and I make sure that they, number one, understand the process, but number two, understand that, one, do you want to work with me or you don't want to work with me? You know what I mean? And understanding that the commission splits and things of that sort. So I always explain to them the process and what they need to do on their end as well as I need to do on my end, if that makes any sense.
It does,
Yeah.
especially when you pair it with the encouragement that you offer, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're bringing to the table an element that all business realtor wouldn't bring to the table, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're bringing an emotional understanding, right? A mental, calming to a very anxious mind, in a very challenging market where it's not a lot of inventory. You bring a lot more to that contract than most would. And I think it's evident in the way that you exuberate, the way you go about the business. Yeah. And I actually do admire that, as a matter of fact. It says something else when, you're not just digits on a sheet, right? When your client are not just numbers.
No.
You actually care, going back to our original statement and why you even joined the business, caring for these people to have homes, right? The housing effect. I think that's awesome. I think it's also a testimony to the other work you're trying to get done too, right? The business.
Yes.
And how much you care for younger folks to have, employment opportunities, financial opportunities, and then the nonprofit, making sure that they can read, mindsets and all of that. You said you were in, you said that kind of stems from you being in the education world. Talk to me about that.
Well, I love education. One, I don't think, what's that program? No Child Held Back in the day?
No Child Left Behind.
No Child Left Behind. And it's so crazy because, again, I remember I used to be so shy to raise my hand, but I would sit at the front of the classroom. You know what I mean? Just so I can write everything down, or just so, again, like if everybody left, I could ask a question to my teacher. So I feel like I was one of those kids, you know what I mean, that was left behind. So for me, it means a lot. You know what I mean? Like I was shy to speak up. I tell people that all the time. I might not look like I'm shy, but I'm shy. But I guess I'm shy when it comes to things that I'm unsure about. You know what I mean? Because if I'm sure, I'm very vocal, So I think back then it was just like we got literacy all the way up to like 3rd grade, but K is like where I'm at because again, their minds are like amazing. Like they can absorb so much information and really take it in and really comprehend it more than the goddamn grown adult.
So like, you like the molding.
So I feel like I got them at their sponge brain. You know what I mean? So as long as I'm honing in on, what I need to teach them or tutor them on, I feel like they're amazing. So again, that's why even though I'm in real estate, I love to educate. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like I told you from before, even though I didn't own a home or I didn't have the perfect credit score, it does not mean that I did not know how to obtain those things. I just wasn't financially ready because I struggled. Right. You know what I mean? But I had to get out of my own self and be like, just because I'm struggling right now does not mean I can't help somebody else accomplish their goals. Yeah. Because I think people are selfish. You know what I mean? Like, people can have information and don't want to give it to you. Gatekeepers. And I'm not that person. Just because I don't have it don't mean that it's not meant for you to have. Yeah.
What are some other challenges you're facing in this real estate market?
Why is people not selling their house? Give it to us. Like, we got buyers that are ready to buy, and people not ready to sell because they're waiting for this or they're waiting for that. You know what I mean? And then, as you see in Baltimore City, our prices are going up. But I mean, for me, I love the new construction. I love to see how Baltimore City is like changing.
There's a lot of intelligent money coming in the market.
Yeah, like, and I'm happy that, again, we don't have to go to, I'm from Baltimore City. I'm happy that I don't have to go to Glen Burnie. I'm happy that I don't have to go to PG County. I'm happy that I don't have to go to Arundel Mills or Charles County, wherever, or PG. I want to stay in Baltimore City where I love, where I grew up.
Yeah.
And again, we got some amazing places. Like, we got Canton, Falls Point, the Inner Harbor. Like, we got some amazing places, and we should stay here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that because I'm be honest with you. For a while there, Baltimore, the hate in Baltimore,
I know, right?
is on a whole nother level.
Yeah, whole nother level.
Let me tell you something. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't. I was not expecting it. You know, I had the understanding. You would hear people on the other side say the hate is crazy.
The hate is crazy.
And the perception of those individuals when I was younger is drastically different now that I am where I am. And because I used to have a group of friends where we would look at those individuals and be like, you know, we would judge them. Trying to get somewhere in this town has been very difficult with individuals trying to compete with you.
Yes.
Right? Like, why can't I do what he's doing, or why not me type of a deal? Instead of utilizing and developing their own strengths and collaborating. Right?
Yeah.
It's a something that I'm still finding it difficult to explain. There's a level of resistance that I'm experiencing in Baltimore.
I feel like those people haven't met themselves yet.
I do too, but you can't make them see it.
Nope.
Right, and you have to deal with who they are until they get to.
Well, we don't necessarily have to deal. Let's start there.
And that's actually where I'm going. It's like, for a while, I love Baltimore. I do. I mean, I get that we are developing here. We got a new Canton, a new Federal Hill, right? We got
new construction on West North Avenue that's coming with that new market.
Yep, they got building out new neighborhoods down Cherry Hill. You know, getting ready to build out the Inner Harbor, John Hopkins area is all been developed.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, Cherry Hill and even like West North Avenue, I don't think they realize, like, there are people that's from that community that's going to buy them homes. Yeah. Because there's people that love Cherry Hill that don't ever want to move.
Don't ever want the island that it is.
There's people in West North Avenue that never want to move out that neighborhood. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't even think they realize, like, no, this is people that don't want to leave out this neighborhood.
Yeah. But so the thing for me, right, as I push along, try my best to collaborate with whoever wants to collaborate. Try my best to help whoever needs the help or wants to help. That's been different. That's been difficult for me to perceive because I don't want anything negative, and I don't want what's anyone's. You know, I don't want
over
yours.
There.
I don't want yours. I want to help you get more, as a matter of fact. And if we could figure out a way to help each other, you know, that'd be even better. But I wasn't prepared for individuals, their posture of their heart.
Yeah, I told you about the heart.
I was not ready for
everybody's heart not good.
And I mean, I remember my gap in time, right? I told you about my struggles. And everybody who listens into the podcast, you've heard it 100 times. But as I made my way out of that and I repositioned my stuff, you said you listened to Michael Todd. He talked early on about the repositioning, right? And then representing yourself to the folks and the areas in which you came from. I didn't know people were gonna be mad that I cleaned myself up.
You don't know?
I didn't know that
What?
people were gonna be aggravated at who I had become. I didn't realize that people would look at my changes and say, "Who do you think you are?" Like what?
But God still gave them grace. Do you see that?
I do.
They feel like they should have grace.
I do.
You know what I mean? It's so crazy that, again, people look at you crazy when you change or not even that. Just God shift your atmosphere of your life. Let's just put it that way. They don't like change. They feel like you should stay stagnant. They feel like you should stay where you are.
Where they can understand you.
Where they can understand you. And no, that's not where God got me at.
I wasn't prepared. So it sounds like you understand it.
I do.
So you're dealing with it. How do you deal with it?
I don't necessarily think I'm dealing with it because I feel like people are in your life for reasons and seasons and lessons.
Okay.
So when people exit left, I'm okay. That must mean they out of their season. And I really don't hold no grudge against anybody, if that make any sense. I really don't. I felt like you taught me what you need to teach me in that moment, or I took in what I needed to take in at that moment, and that was it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I really don't hone in on to, and not even, I never cared about what nobody thinks of me.
So that area I struggled with. I'm just gonna be straight up because I'm in sales. Yeah. So I need you to think the best. It's like, so for me, you know.
But I think it's because of my heart, though. I know what my heart is.
Right. And that's where.
And you looking with your eyes. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Yeah.
And that's where I had a hard time adjusting because not so much now, but that was a bit of a transition because I really, really, really wanted to help. Mm-hmm. And I just had to accept the fact that some things are just gonna have to be planted seeds. Mm-hmm. Some other things are gonna be that you can't help everybody. Everybody doesn't want you to help.
No.
Right? And
or your advice.
You spend so much time and so much effort and energy changing that I had to rearrange why I had begun to change. Mm-hmm. See, originally, I still do want to help, and that's what I do for a living, right? It's like, you know, we don't get paid unless we close, but I help individuals who may not close. But that's the abundance mindset that I've adopted, right? Okay. So it's like, even the ones who don't close, I'm okay because I know someone will.
Oh, yeah. Or they're going to refer someone to you because you took your time and you was diligent.
Right. And for whoever I did help, in a weird way, I just kind of understand that even if they go with another lender, I still helped you get to where you. So I still had a hand in your transformation, right? Yeah, and changing the financial trajectory of your financial future. So I'm okay with it. But early on, I had some struggles because I had developed this build-up effect. Like I can't wait to get out there and help some folks, only to find out
what. Woo! You ain't gotta tell me because I didn't see family purchase homes from us other people.
Oh my gosh, that hurt, boy! I'm telling you. And
you know what? It don't for me. Because when I saw one of my family members purchase a home from someone else, at the end of the day, I looked at it like it wasn't a headache. Because at the end of the day, some people are a headache.
I deleted the number,
and I don't want the headache.
I'm not gonna start.
See.
I'm not gonna hold you.
You should delete, and at the end of the day, that's how you felt that amount. Yeah. But I feel like strangers have supported me more than family. Right. And I'm being honest. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And at the end of the day, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I am now. Like it was a process for me because
it hurt you. It hurt your feelings.
It did. That's what I was getting to. It was like I had to deal with that emotion in me, and it wasn't so. I learned over time. It wasn't so much that they went with someone else or they didn't accept my change.
It's not that you didn't trust me enough.
It was
me.
So, yes. Why didn't you trust me? And then internalizing that. Like, what is it about me that makes me untrustworthy? Which is where I think God wanted me. Why do you need the validation?
That part.
Yeah. And that was a bit of a process for me as I worked my way out of this Baltimorean cultural understanding, right? It's like we have this quote unquote crab in the barrel type of a element over our city, or at least that's the way people understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of felt it a little bit. It was like, dang, like you won't accept me unless I'm in the barrel.
Yeah.
Like you don't want my hand unless I'm down there.
Yeah.
And that really bugged me out because
What?
I spent a lot of energy and effort trying to get to you. And now that you don't want it, or you're going to go somewhere else, that surfaced some heart issues in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big believer of iron sharpening iron. So I believe there were imperfections in other individuals that were used to help sharpen my own perspectives and mindsets about how I would develop and who I would start to care for.
Okay, yeah.
Which is why I was kind of saying that, you know, well, I love Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just Baltimore. What did Jesus? I think Jesus said that he couldn't even do a miracle where he was from. Well, there were a few miracles he could do where he was from.
Miracles that he can do.
Because they just could not change the way that they saw him. And that was a process for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You didn't experience that.
Yes, but I think for me, I don't harbor on to stuff.
Okay.
I'm an easy forgiver. It's just how I will deal with you after that point.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right.
Like, I've learned the way God give us grace. Like, I can forgive you. It's just how I will deal with you after I forgave you.
Yeah, I'm a Libra.
Oh, you real like. It's even like, oh, really? Oh, what? Yeah,
I can hold some stuff. I can hold some stuff.
Yeah, but when you hold it, you the only one holding it.
I'm weighing it down, right?
The other person not holding on to it.
Right.
I tell people that all the time. Forgiveness is really for yourself.
Some of them forget that they had even done anything.
That's my point.
Right.
That's why for me, I'm going to forgive you. Because at the end of the day, by the time this is over, you really forgot what the F you did to me. Not even that you forgot. You don't care.
Right.
That's not even that. Some people don't care.
Right.
And that speaks volumes about the person that you are.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So at that point, I've learned that you're not the person that I want in my company, my space, not even extended hand if you needed one.
Right. Right.
Do you need me to pray for you? Because that's the one thing I can do for you.
Yeah. Well,
you get what I'm saying?
I do. And that kind of makes it easy to understand, you know, how you deal with the rejection in our business. Mm-hmm. You know, that was a sensitive area for me. So it was a bit of a challenge getting over it. But I will say, man, branching out into other counties, into other cities, I was much more received. Yeah. Right. Like you said, it was people who didn't know me. It was like a breath of fresh air when I came.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you're offering this. You can help me do that. And it wasn't such a resistance.
Right. And it built your confidence way up, didn't it? I'm telling you, build your confidence when other people outside of
of the people you wanted to help.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It makes you feel like you are in the right space. You are where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Them people just not for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I had a hard time accepting. Mm-hmm. You know, your mindset over that is golden, right? Like the way, and it kind of I'm looking at the way you offer grace as a soft pillow for individuals who are falling hard. Because when they do, your forgiveness and the way that you speak about it is so automatic that you leave room for people to make mistakes. And I don't know, I didn't always do that. I'm gonna be honest with you, you know, because of
we human.
Yeah.
No matter how we look at it.
I know. And to hear you talk about the way that you give them grace, it's kind of easy to see how people navigate to you, right? and it's natural, which is, you know, acts as a magnet in some regard. Talk to me about, you know, as you deal with your clients, you're in the process, you're getting ready to close with your clients, and you are not necessarily asking for additional business, but
I don't ask for additional business.
So how do you handle that, the referral base of your business?
All I do is ask. Honestly, I don't ask for a referral. I just send my Google review and I say, can I please have a Google review? Okay. I don't look for anything in return. I know referral drives our business, but I never ask them for a referral.
So talk to me about that.
It's so crazy. I don't. I literally ask them to complete, and it's so crazy because I don't know how many clients I've served at least 12 clients in my 2 years, and only about 5 or 6 of them gave me a review, and I still talk to the rest of them to this day.
So you make friends, you don't make clients.
Yeah, I make friends and family.
Okay.
But the crazy part about it, and again, it's just like, I asked you for a review, and it's okay if you haven't gave me one yet. I still know I did my job because you're still calling me. You know what I mean? So again, I understand that everything is referral based, Google based, things of that sort. But mine is God based. I can't express that enough. Mm-hmm. I feel like again, it's from me listening to Michael Todd. It's from me listening to like Keon Henderson. It's come from me listening to those gentlemen and know that I can't be cuffed to certain things. I can't be cuffed to comments. I can't be cuffed to clients. I can't be cuffed to those things. Like, I have to be cuffed to God, and He's gonna bring me everything that I need. That make it like that's just like my motto. Faith. And I think I got humbled when I remember when I have a degree in criminal justice and criminology, right? And I remember I got to my graduation day, and I was number 150. I was pissed.
Why?
That fucking part. Oop, that part.
Yeah, right.
Like when tell you that I was pissed, I don't know what in my mind. That's why I said this business is just like, real estate is real estate. My goal is not to be a number. And I had to realize that when I got my degree and I picked up my number and I was seat 150. It made me mad because I was like, I'm 150. I'm supposed to be number one. That's when I humbled myself. As those people kept getting called and called and called, and I seen the women that was going up there, I was like, yeah, I deserve to be 150. That's when I realized, I was like, I deserve to be 150. Because those women that's coming up and gentlemen that's coming up before me, you know what? They put their time in. My bad. So I really had to, in that moment, even though I literally, like, I was hurt, because I was like, 150, I'm not going to get called to 150. Why am I not such and such? And I really, again, I had to humble myself and say, girl, you better sit down. You on the stage. Let's start there. Like, you finished. Let's start. Like, you get what I'm saying? I had to check myself. I had to check myself. And it was just like, girl, did you realize that you on a stage at the end of the day? So again, it's humbling experiences like that to draws me back to myself and be like, humble yourself.
My start in real estate, more in mortgages. Your side is in real estate. My side is money. But my start in mortgages, first of all, I have everything else that I had done, I didn't have to be stationary to do. You sat me down, I had to read FHA guidelines. And I saw how many pages I had to go through.
What?
And then I'm reading pages. I'm reading pages and forgetting what I read, going back and reading it again. Trying to pass that exam, being amongst other loan officers who have figured it out, and being amongst up until that point, man, I had not experienced failure. Up until that point, I succeeded in everything that I had done. I had figured everything else out. But it's just something about this mortgage route that brung me to the end of myself. When I tell you humbling ain't the word.
That's what I'm saying.
More like shatter.
What?
Like, it was crazy.
What? That's what I'm saying. Even on my real estate exam. Like, I remember, first of all, knowing I'm not good with reading on my own. Mm-hmm. I took the CE shop, because it was self-paced at the time. And the crazy part about it is I wouldn't say my ex, because we became friends after we wasn't together anymore. Like, my friend looked at me one day and he just was like, I know you. What do you want to do next? And I was like, I'm glad that you asked. I want to be I said, I want to be a real estate agent. He was like, for real? I was like, yeah, like I don't know what it is. I want to do this. And he literally paid for my real estate class. And from that point, he ended up passing away. But from that point, it was just like I knew that I had to do it. So I took the CE shop. I passed the state but couldn't pass the national. Mm-hmm. So I ended up hiring this guy named Denzel. And he was from, I'm not mistaken, he wasn't from here, he was from Texas or Missouri, somewhere. But anyway, I ended up getting a tutor and going along in foster for a month. I did Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I was like, oh no, I need somebody to break this down because it's something that I want. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up getting a tutor, and then went my first time to take the test at that little state place up the street, where we got to take it at. What? How about the church was next door? Beating them guys. We had sound pause, no, noise resistant headphones, but I can hear all the church music. Now make that make sense. I was like, really, Jesus? You know I can't focus on music in the background. What we doing here?
Yeah.
So literally, I passed the state the first time. That one literally was 3 points away from the national. How about my lucky number is 3? So I went back, and I was like, you know what? I got to go back when it means something to me. So I went back on 5-5, which was Cinco de Mayo, which again, all numbers mean something to me. So I went back on 5-5, and I passed both of them.
So you know, fairy, the taste.
What?
It's better.
What?
Better.
When you gotta go, what? And it's like, you want something bad, and it's just like, it's like, oh my gosh, like I know this is for me. How do I keep? And again, that's just God testing us.
Yeah.
And like, are you gonna believe? Are you gonna have the faith? Because again, we always want a microwavable God or something like in an instant. And if God don't be working on our patience, He definitely be working on our patience. And at the end of the day, He definitely give us grace every day.
Yeah.
Because every day we need it.
Yeah, the process of becoming makes you the person to receive. It qualifies you to receive the clients that's coming.
Seriously.
Because you got to go through the bumps and the grinds, man, and nothing is handed. And I was a winner up until mortgages.
See?
And mortgages hit me in my chest. It was the first authority that I had over my life, but because I respected what I wanted, like you said, you really got to want it. And the authority, I just had to submit to this.
What?
I had to submit to it.
And it's hard for us to submit to stuff. Like, as human beings, we do not like to submit.
No.
It's like we fight against it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
In all aspects of our life. Like, think about that. Because again, we got people that's financially stable and things of that sort. But I mean, they have their itches and what they need to work on. You know what I mean? So everybody got something that they got to submit to. You know what I mean? It ain't never easy, I tell you that.
Yeah. So you have a special part for first-time buyers. I can hear it in you. And you touched on it. You want to provide housing for individuals. You also want to be able to provide financial opportunities to younger individuals. There's something about you that just wants to provide.
I know.
And
I'm such a provider.
I can hear it in your story. Where does that come from?
Maybe because I felt like I lacked in areas. But I don't know. Because I feel like I was always provided for. You know what I mean? My father and my stepmother always provided a home for us. Even my mom, like, she always had a home for us. So again, maybe that's where it came from. I will say that no matter the circumstances that my parents went through, they always provided. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't lack at anything that I thought. You know what I mean? So my mother was a hairstylist, so it's not like my hair wasn't done. You know what I mean? Like, my grandmothers, I remember every Christmas, like, they used to go up to like New York and shop. So I mean, we had boxes full of gifts on Christmas time. So it's not like necessarily like I lacked anything. You know what I mean? But I think for me, it's just like when I lost my brothers, it hit home. And then when I had my own kids, I was like, oh, I got boys. I have to provide for them. You know what I mean? I have to make sure that they don't get lost in the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it was definitely a lot of praying.
I'm hard on my boys. Some of it is necessary. Other areas is organic. I don't even mean to. But I don't think I could have had daughters. I got 3 boys, and
no, I couldn't have no daughter.
I know how I could have had daughters. And I got a couple of buddies, man, who have daughters, and they talk to you all the time about how it makes you softer. I don't know if I could have had.
I will say my past relationship, he had 2 daughters or whatever. They made me soft. So I will say that. I will have to agree. Yeah. And then when I realized that when they was around, I was soft. I was extra soft with my kids. because I didn't want them to feel anything different. So I made sure that the softness that I showed for them when they was around, because I felt my body soft. You know what I mean? Because it was like I knew that I needed to be more gentle. So I always made sure I provided that particular space too. You know what I mean? Of softness. Yeah.
I think that's awesome because now we're talking about single moms, talking about young ladies who trust you. So you have that element too. And I think that's dope. Like you have a full circle approach to this business, right?
Yeah.
And all the way back to your past, your route up leading up to not just real estate, but what you want to do with the cleaning business and what you're doing with the nonprofit, which I think is dope as well.
Can't wait to get started.
Yeah, and in all of the provide. I hear solution. So I want to commend you on being an answer for a community you're not willing to leave, Baltimore. I want to commend you in the love and forgiveness that you offer our city. I want to tell you that I admire your approach, in the mindset in which you have to be able to handle all that you're juggling. And I think it's awesome that you're raising 3 boys while doing all of it as well, right?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's dope. And a lot of times, I talk to a lot of people in this chair next to me, and a lot of times they don't get a chance to hear what they are able to do and the impact that they're having, right? They know they're in it, but when you're in it, it's hard to see over it. So I'm just letting you know as I watch and look over your journey and I hear your story, I'm telling you now, you're getting some great work done. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I focus on both aspects, whether it's single mothers or single fathers, because I know you talk about me being a single mother. But I know a lot of single fathers, and they're amazing. You know what I mean? They're doing the same thing that I'm doing, and at the end of the day, I feel like single mothers and single fathers should be recognized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I told you before, like people, I don't want to just say women, people in general think that men have it all together or they don't struggle. You know what I mean? They the man, they can handle it. No, we're all human. We just have 2 different counterparts.
Yeah.
We all have the same mental.
Yep.
We all have the same struggles.
Yeah.
Everything is the same besides 2 counterparts. Other than that, we all deal with the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, single mothers and single fathers deserve, that's why I can't wait to be able to provide not free housing, but affordable housing, for single fathers and mothers. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah.
I think it's awesome, man. Listen, we've heard your story, right? And I think it's remarkable what you're getting done. I think, like I said, solution, you are the answer you're going to be, and the way that you care and the way that you forgive, it shapes you for a first-time buyer who doesn't know what they're doing, anxious, and afraid, sometimes doing things they don't always realize they're doing or saying and all that kind of stuff. And the erratic actions that come from them, sometimes it could be a difficult challenge to manage their minds. But you're getting it done, and I salute you. So I want to give you an opportunity to tell everybody how they can tap in, not with your real estate business, not just your real estate business, but real estate, the cleaning business, and what to look out for regarding your nonprofit.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm Alisha Gibson, the realtor at Brick and Quill Realty. I guess you'll list my Instagram.
I sure will.
He'll list my cleaning page, which is Beyond Priceless Cleaning. And I cannot wait. It's so crazy because I was talking to my broker, and I'm really excited about the project that he's thinking about starting. So that's why I cannot wait to team up with him. But I also want to be able to provide free cleaning services to our elderly. I'm realizing that a lot of people leave their parents wherever, and that's not healthy, for them to be in different spaces that, they're not able to maneuver around or can't clean for themselves and things of that sort. So I pray, hopefully, I'm able to do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Provide free cleaning service for elderly. Yeah. In my business as well. So, but again, I love first-time home buyers. I love sellers, and I love to educate.
Yeah.
If anything, educate and encourage. 2 E's. I like that.
Double E.
I'm getting good with that. Educate and encourage. Okay? That's
Slogan
my
it.
motto.
Yeah, you gotta go
Okay?
ahead.
Educate and
Yeah.
encourage.
Hashtag that one.
That's my thing, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, like I said, she's tapped in. Real estate, cleaning business, nonprofits on the come. She cares about housing, not just for the folks who has it, but she's willing to mold and understand and forgive the ones who don't. This is Miss Alisha Gibson. Excuse me, Alisha Gibson. I got it right.
You got it right.
Brick and Quill Realty. And this is the Ryan Dunston Podcast. And these are words from Humble King. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
You already said. Peace.